going to open this little talk with a quote from The Forgiving Dream. And it's this: whenever you feel fear in any form, and you are fearful if you do not feel a deep content, a certainty of help, a calm assurance heaven goes with you, be sure you made an idol and believe it will betray you. Beneath the hope that it will save you lie the guilt and the pain of self-betrayal and uncertainty so deep and bitter that the dream cannot conceal completely all your sense of doom. What I want to talk about is that idea. The dream cannot conceal completely all your sense of doom. Is I really think that can keep us on track. There are so many times when on the battleground, the guns are stilled an instant, or there's a truce and things seem very pleasant and maybe even as good as we could possibly imagine them to be. But that is not the peace that's the goal. That is not what he's talking about when he discusses a deep content, a certainty of help, the calm assurance that heaven goes with you. That's something that has no parallel to our experience. We're taught that even on the best day of our lives, we still need to be careful. There's still dangers around us. So this level, the forgiving dream, is on a level that is not of this world. It is not dependent upon the images that pass before our eyes. The Course says the eyes don't see, the hands don't touch, the ears don't hear. Christ can lend you his hands while you have need of them. That means literally, like when you're asleep and dreaming, you see that you're a body in your dream. You see things, you do things, you act on things, and they act on you in your dreams. But in reality, in your dream, you don't have eyes that see. Your mind is contriving a limited self and gathering information through limited senses. So I want to talk about this because of that tendency to constantly cut the Course down to size and make the dream acceptable to us. The self-esteem in the Course is defined as anything that renders the ego temporarily less predatory. And again, when he says ego, he means us, those who have identified with the ego thought system and seem to walk the earth in our bodies. So he's never talking about the way the body seems. Does the body seem kind? Does the body seem loving? That is completely irrelevant. It's not whether or not you're a kind and loving body. It's whether or not you're a body. So to keep an eye on that, I think it can be really helpful to understand the offering. What is being offered? He has to make it attractive, or why would we take one step down the road of the Course with him? So it's perfect peace. It's unmarred in any way at all. So that has to somehow resonate with us as something that we want, as opposed to, our life where we're grasping at happiness wherever we can find it. He also talks in there about the idols. So beneath the hope it will save you lie the guilt and pain of self-betrayal. He says, be sure you made an idol and believe it will betray you. So what is an idol? An idol is described in the Course as the Antichrist, but an idol is basically anything we value at all that substitutes for the love of God. It substitutes for the hand of Christ he's asking us to hold. An idol is an image of your brother you value more than his reality. We're idols to ourselves. We the idea that Your true reality is being a part of a oneness that is perfect joy, perfect truth, perfect love. And instead, we value what we made. I made of myself an idol that I would defend against the truth. The only way to understand that is being insane, that it was a mistake to value that idol, to value something other than the truth. The Course is not written for a dream figure. It's not written for a puppet that's directed by the mind. It's written for the mind. So what is out of awareness is awakened in us when we study the Course, when we do the workbook. It's awakening something that we have ignored, denied, pushed out of awareness, and believe doesn't exist. So when you breathe life into what doesn't exist, then what has reality seems to disappear. Ultimately, our guide is really our capital S self. We didn't even know it was there. We didn't even know we had a mind. We didn't know the cause of the effect we call our lives. And the Course awakens that, and the goal is to bring it into awareness. It's very easy to have a moment of awareness and then feel thrown back for some period of time, a day, a week, years, because we're so terrified. We're so terrified of the undoing of everything we remember. What we remember never was. But it's all we have is that memory of our little self being born into a world, being victimized by that world, or playing the role of victimizer. And we just were never taught to question that as the fundamental truth about the universe. It's supposed to be beyond question. This is what I am. This is what you are. Who knows what God is? He's either crazy or mean or such a mystery that it doesn't make any sense. So the Course is written as kind of a psychological, psycho-spiritual path. It relies really heavily on psychological concepts, projection, or regression, repression, denial. But my background is in the law, so I look at it in terms of appealing to a higher court. He does use that language in there. So we've made a verdict. We've pronounced a verdict on what is possible and what's not possible, on what is true and what can't be true. And it hasn't made us happy. So we need to appeal to a higher court. And that higher court is the Holy Spirit. And when we start off, it's very easy to say, oh, the Course is about forgiveness. And then wherever you fall on the ladder, you'll interpret forgiveness in that way. Sometimes it'll mean I condemn that guy, but I'm going to go ahead and forgive him like I'm bestowing a gift that he couldn't have without me. That's the lowest level. And then as you work your way up the ladder to realizing the definition of forgiveness is looking and waiting and quietly doing nothing without judgment. And that's what we call looking with Jesus, looking with the Holy Spirit, looking with our guide. So forgiveness is always prominent. It's a prominent piece. It is the practice. It is our job to engage in the forgiveness. It doesn't have a lot of meaning without the theoretical basis of the course. So there's a section in which he talks about judgment being impossible. So it's not that judgment is bad or sinful. It just is impossible. As a kind of base acceptance, we'd have to kind of hear that and acknowledge it. In order to judge anything, you would have to have perfect knowledge of the past, perfect knowledge of all the circumstances of the present, and you'd have to understand how your judgment will impact everyone for all time. So that's why judgment is impossible. And we kind of stumble blindly around. But that also is a great section because it provides a context within which to understand looking without judgment. So we're not the viewer of this world. We're the awareness of the viewer of the world. We're the awareness behind all the doings. We're the awareness behind the thoughts, the words, and the actions. And we don't have to go anywhere to look, wait, and quietly do nothing. It is more like becoming aware that you are awareness. And we have a split mind, so we don't experience just that initially until we make the final judgment, which is generalizing everything you've learned on your path to encompass the whole world. There's nothing to forgive because the world never did anything to us. It seemed to when we were identified with the ego thought system. So that's the ultimate goal. And to lose sight of that doesn't just mean, oh, it's going to take me longer to reach my goal. It literally means we are subject to all of the grievances within ourselves that create so much pain, and all of the ways in which the world seems to hurt us, what we identify with as ourselves. It's hell. It's hell. The choices between truth and illusions, hell and heaven. It's not something that we necessarily hold in mind all the time, but when we remember not to berate ourselves or berate anybody else or to hold the course over anyone's head like a hammer or our own head. It's just to allow Jesus to step in, give him a little room to walk with us and look with us. It's our own judgments, it's our own tie to our grievances that can hinder us. He's not asking us to give up anything of value. The only thing that can be lost is illusions, and the only thing that can be gained is heaven. And the incentive is the desire for peace instead of war. If we don't recognize the war for what it is, then we won't really have any type of motivation. So the Course is a motivational text. It's a text on cause and effect. And it is a comfort in that regardless of any mistakes I continue to make, there's only one mistake. We made but one mistake. There's one problem and it's been solved. The separation, and it never happened. But how we get there is very individualized. The beauty of the Course is in the certainty that we will choose again. And in that choice, will everyone be made free? Thank you.